My trans daughter transitioned so that she can inherit my mother's $1 million ring and sell it, but all her efforts will come to waste. I have 2 children, Bob and Meg. Meg was born male, but began to transition to female a year ago. My dad gave my mom a huge and expensive diamond ring for their 30th wedding anniversary. And when she died in 2009, she stated that everything went to my dad except that ring, which is to pass on to the next born female in our family. I only have one sibling, a brother, and like me, he didn't have a daughter, so we just figured one of us would eventually have a granddaughter, and she would get the ring. The ring was last appraised in 02/4 for 1.2 meters. I do not know what it's worth now. Meg and I have always had a contentious relationship. She was always having problems in school, always causing problems with her mom and brother, wouldn't listen to anyone, had never held a job for more than a few weeks, and had been arrested for shoplifting. She has just been a tough kid to raise. She still lives with us, and we're still paying for everything. A few weeks ago, she said that she wanted my mother's ring. I thought she was kidding, but when I said no and laughed, she exploded, called me names, and threw food all over the kitchen before storming out. I wanted to change the locks while she was gone, but I calmed down because I knew that would probably lead to a lousy outcome. My wife initially agreed with me, but now thought Meg should get the ring. I will not give her the ring, and here is why. It would fracture my relationship with my brother. I am not 100% sure that Meg didn't transition specifically to get this ring. She has said several times that we're dumb not to sell it. Many people have an issue with this, and it's the reason my post was deleted. While it is very extreme to transition just to get a ring, children have murdered their parents for less money. Meg has already asked her grandparents and us for her share of the inheritance. I also hate the thought of it, and I hope it's not true. Even though this wasn't an issue my mother ever thought about, I am positive that she wouldn't want a trans female to have the ring. She wanted the ring passed down from daughter to daughter so that no one could ever lose it in a divorce. Currently, my daughter dates women, which could lead to the exact problem my mom wanted to avoid. Someone mentioned she could detransition after getting the ring. I hadn't even thought of that. Even though I'm not happy about it, I am willing to accept my daughter as she is, and I try my best not to dead name her and use the right pronouns. A lot of people said a lot of hateful things about me being transphobic. And if that's how you feel, consider that I still support her. She's on my insurance, and I pay for her medication that insurance doesn't. It's been hard for the whole family. We all do our best. Her doctor said that being transgendered may be the reason she struggled so much growing up. And at the end of the day, I just want my kids to be healthy and happy. The ring is in a safety deposit box in another city. Meg doesn't know who to contact to see if she'd be eligible, so I'm stopping her from getting it. I am not sure what the exact wording of the will is, but it's a legal document and very specific about how the ring should transfer. If one of us has a cis granddaughter who isn't responsible and would want to sell the ring, I would do all I could to stop the transfer. But unless there are stipulations in the will for that, which there might be, I would have no choice. I have not told Meg that I suspect she transitioned just to get the ring. I was talking to my wife about it because so many people have mentioned how crazy that is. It doesn't seem crazy. My wife verbalized it better than I did. She's always treated us, especially me, like a resource, not family. Update. I contacted the law firm that set up the will and got some clarification on the actual terms. Long story short, there is language that stops Meg from being eligible to claim the ring. There are also exclusions for being fruity and untrustworthy amongst other things. In addition to the specific exclusions outlined in the will, anyone can inherit it or be blocked if my brother, my father, and I all vote for it. I remember when my parents set this up. It was such a big deal. It would be their legacy. They immigrated to the US while my mom was pregnant with me, and it was very important to them to set down roots. This was going to be the thing that would bind our family together for generations and keep the story of their trials and eventual success relevant to our bloodline. I hadn't thought about the ring in a long time. Why would I? We weren't planning on having any more kids, and neither was my brother, so that generation wouldn't get it. Why would it matter what the actual terms were? When my daughter started to transition, it didn't even occur to me that it might make her eligible for the inheritance. That's how far removed from my day-to-day life the ring is. Now that this has all happened, I've thought critically about what this ring really is and what it will most likely accomplish. I have spoken to my brother. I told him that Meg asked for the ring, and I said no without knowing the will's terms. He agreed that Meg had too many problems getting the ring, and like me, he hadn't even thought about the ring since the will happened. I asked him what we should do if one of our kids had a daughter. She was irresponsible and wanted to pawn the ring. He agreed that it would be a problem that he wouldn't like. Then I told him I didn't see this working out as our mom had thought. Depending on the economic conditions by the time it's inherited, it might just be a race to see who can have the first girl so they can sell it and have some security. The further away from my mom, the less sentimental value it has. He agreed with all of my points. I suggested we sell it and set up a trust in our mother's name that gives our kids several payments to make their transition into adulthood easier. Maybe a payout at 18, 21, and 30. My brother likes the idea, but the only way we can do this is to convince my dad. He's 83 and still pretty sharp, but his wife's memory and legacy are crucial to him, so I have no idea if he'll even consider it. So that's where we are. Thanks for your input.